Hi everyone, my name is Daniel Kim and welcome to the video lesson for General Ability Test number 41. Let's jump right into the first question, shall we? Here is another set of statements. Decide whether the third statement is definitely true, false, or possibly false. So, Angelina is Helen's daughter. So, we have Helen and then we have Angelina. So that's daughter. Now, number 2, Helen has 4 grandchildren. So, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 down here. So, does that mean Angelina has 4 children? Well, she could have 4 children, or Helen could actually have another daughter we don't know about, and it could actually be that Angelina only had 3 children and that she had 1 child there, or that Angelina had 2 children and that the other daughter had 2 children, or that there was another daughter and so that was actually the first grandchild over there. And well, while it could be that Angelina has 4 children, the answer here we're looking for is possibly false because there's so many other options that haven't been discussed. So for that reason, the answer to question 1 is C, possibly false. Possibly false also kind of means possibly true. So just letting you know. Question 2. What is the closest meaning to callow? Now, callow means you lack adult sophistication, and another synonym would probably be something like immature because you aren't mature yet. So, we look at the options, and funnily enough, we have being young or immature as option D. So, the answer for question 2 is D. Moving on, we go to question 3. Select the pair that best expresses a relationship similar to that expressed in the original pair. So the pair we start off with is podium and speech. Now, a podium is a raised platform, and it's like those small boxes that conductors stand on in front of an orchestra. Except podiums are not exclusive to music. They're also used for public speaking and other speaking events like that. And so if we look at the options, let's go from the bottom up. We have preface to book. Now, a preface is the part of the book that's at the start, that's before the actual story, and it can give background information on maybe the author or where the story came from. And so that's not a similar relationship to podium and speech. Podium and speech, the relationship there, I forgot to mention, was that you can stand on a podium to make a speech. So then we get tedium and lecture. Now, tedium kind of sounds like podium, so you might think, oh, okay. But tedium actually means boredom. Tedium, you can think of the word tedious, T-E-D-I-O-U-S, and that means where you find something tiresome because of how long it is, and so you could also say bored. And then we have tedium and lecture. Well, you can't stand on a tedium, and so for that reason the relationship isn't the same either. And then you have a newspaper, editorial. Now, an editorial is an article in the newspaper which reflects the view of the editor. And this, once again, is not what we're looking for because, well, even though you can't stand on a newspaper, that's not going to have the same relationship as podium and speech. So we get to option A, and that is pulpit and sermon. Now, pulpit is like a reading desk, similar to what I'm doing here, where and it's usually associated with churches, where the pastor will come up and they'll have a pulpit and they'll have everything they need to read there. So they'll give their sermon at the pulpit, where they'll talk to the congregation. So for that reason, the answer to question 3 is A, because it has the similar meaning of reading at a particular place. So question 4, which group of scrambled letters cannot be made into a fish? So we have A, B, C, D, and you have those letters there. Now, if you look at option A, you can rearrange those letters to make the word carp, and a carp is a fish. So C-A-R-P for option A. Option C, you get the word sole. Now, sole also means the bottom of your foot, I mean, what you put into your shoe, but it also means a type of fish, oddly enough. And then option D, we have salmon, which I'm sure you'd all enjoy, unless if you don't like fish. So then we get B, and the closest word you can get from rearranging those letters is the word chow, which is sort of like it's like an informal word for the word food, but that's not a fish. So for that reason, question 4, the answer is B. Question 5, you have an analogy. Shake is to shook as thrust is to. Now, the relationship between shake and shook is that shake is in the present tense and shook is in the past tense. And so if thrust is in the present tense, we need to find the past tense for thrust. Oddly enough, the past tense for thrust is thrust. So I thrust something into the ground is present, and then I thrust the sword into the dragon would be past tense. And so, if you look at the options there, we have thrusted, and that's not a word. We have enthrust, which doesn't exist again. And then thruster is a name commonly given to a jet engine, but we're looking for the word thrust here, option D, which is the past tense of thrust. So question 5, the answer is D. Question 6, what is the fewest number of coins needed to make $14.50? You must use $2, $1, 50 cent, 20 cent, 10 cent, and 5 cent coins. You must also include at least one of every coin in the $14.50. So the best way to start off with this is, it says you need to include all of the different coins. So how about you start by getting all the different coins and finding their total. So you have $2, $1, 50 cents, 20 cents, 10 cents, 5 cents. So far that gets you a total of $3.85. Now, you want to use the least number of coins possible, so that means use the $2 coin as much as you can, because that's the biggest one. But firstly, we need to get the cents to 50, because once that happens, then we can add as many 2s and 1s as we want. So to do that, we need to have another 5 cent coin to make this ending in 0. So we go, so that's that, and then we go 0.05. Now that will get us to 90, but we want to get to 50, so we add on a 10 cents, and that gets us to a round dollar. And then once we get to, so this is $4 total up to here, $4, and then we'll put on the 50, because we end on the 50 cents, and then that gets us to $4.50, and then we need to get 10 extra dollars, so that means we need to get 5 $2 coins. So $2, $2, $2, $2, and $2. Gets us to the grand total of 10 plus 3, and then plus the dollar that comes from here is $14, and that's a 0. That's 50 cents here, so that's $14.50. Now how many coins did we use? We used 5 here, we used 3 here, so that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that's 14 coins, and that means the answer for question 6 is D. Now question 7, which one of these is the odd one out? You have Aristida, Alpine Ash, Cane, and Fescue. So, the words Aristida, Cane, and fescue are all different types of grass, but the alpine ash is a particular type of tree which can grow up to heights of 90 meters. And so, because it's the only tree there, the odd word out here is B. Question 8. What distance do you ride in one turn of a merry-go-round when you sit 8.5 meters from the center? So, if you sit 8.5 meters from the center, so here's the center of the circle, you sit 8.5 there, and then you go around on the merry-go-round one time. So that was 8.5 meters. So it's all this question is asking you is what is the circumference if you have an 8.5 meter radius. So 8.5 equals the radius. 2 times the radius is going to equal 17 because you times that by 2. And so what you have to do now is circumference equals pi d, which equals 2 pi r. And that 2r is already there, so we just times 17 by pi, you get the circumference. So if we let pi equal 3.14, we times that by 17, and we get 28, carry the 2, 7 1 to 7, plus 2 equals 9, 7 there equals 21, pull the 0 down, and you get 4, 1, 3. And then you get 8, 3, 3, 5. So 53.38. Now, the closest answer there is 53.41 meters, and close enough, good enough, because pi is a bit of a strange number. So question 8, the answer is C. Question 9, what is the best meaning of demagogue? Okay, so the answer for this question is C. It's a leader who tries to stir the passions of people for his own purposes. In other words, they make false claims and promises to the public and get votes that way, rather than using rational arguments to support their rule and their campaign. So that's question 9. Question 10. Which word is not a synonym of the others? So we have prank, mischief, gawk, and escapade. Now, a prank is, as we all know, a practical joke. A mischief is described as playful misbehavior when you muck around with your friends. That would be probably mischief. Although in mischief you might play pranks, so who knows. Then you have escapade, which is an act that usually involves excitement or adventure. So the odd word out here is gawk, which means to stare openly and stupidly. So if I was gawking at someone, I'd be like, look at them, and just kind of be like, yeah, you'd look really strange. In comic style, your eyes would be like this and just going. Anyway, so that's the answer to question 10 before I get sidetracked. So that brings us to the end of this particular video lesson. I hope you enjoyed it, hope you learned something, and I hope to see you in the next video where I can teach you more tips and tricks on these exam questions. Until then, see ya.